What's up, guys? Pastor Rob here, back with another reaction video. As usual, I have my son Gage.
What's up?
And as usual, we're going to be reacting to a song requested by you guys in the comment section of our videos. Keep in mind, this is not an endorsement of the song, the artist, or the genre as a whole, but an attempt to create discussion and encourage discernment while listening to music. To learn more about us, visit PastorRobReacts.com and check out our sponsor, Fallen by Nature Christian Streetwear at fallenbynature.com.
Yep.
Now, today's song is a song that was requested a while back. It's from the band Black Sabbath.
Classic.
We did a reaction to one of their songs on vinyl.
We did, yes.
I can't remember the
we
name
could
of
have
the
done
song.
this one on vinyl, probably.
Funny enough, the very first record I ever owned was the Paranoid album, but I was like 7, maybe. It was my dad's, and I took his records and had them in my room. And that and Bob Seger. I think we talked about this before.
Yeah, I think we mentioned that on the last one.
Yeah, so this is a band I'm familiar with to some degree, of course.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with this song because Faith No More covered it.
I was going to say that. Yeah, I know the Faith No More version, the Real Thing classic album.
But I can't say that I know I can sing along with it, I guess, but I don't know the word, like what they're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, the name's obvious, has to do with war. I mean, I understand that. So it'll be interesting to revisit this and hear it from the Black Sabbath version as well as dive into the lyrics.
Black Sabbath version as much. So yeah,
All right,
hear it.
Let's do it. Oh man, I like the way it's recorded already.
That old school guitar sound.
Got the bass over here.
Yeah.
Man, that sounds great.
It's almost a little bit funky, dare I say.
The bass? Yeah.
Everything, just the bass and the drums especially.
Got a little swing to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Generals gathered in their masses, just like witches at black masses. Evil minds that plot destruction, sorcerer of death's construction. In the fields of bodies burning, as the war machine keeps turning.
Just hear
Death
it.
and hatred to mankind, poisoning their brainwashed minds. Oh Lord, yeah.
Absolutely love the way it's recorded.
Yeah, it sounds so organic.
The drums are panning.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's multi-mic'd or something.
Yeah. Hear a little bit of a shaker off to the left.
Politicians hide
tambourine.
themselves away.
Something like that.
They only started the war. Why should they go out to fight? They leave their all to the poor. Yeah.
Golly, it's an experience.
Time will tell on their power minds, making war just for fun, treating people just like boards and chairs. Wait till their judgment day comes. Yeah.
move. It's like
Yeah, that was crazy.
is that 2 guitars? I'm guessing.
They got tons of guitars layered in there.
But I mean, even the solo, it sounded like maybe dual
Yeah.
track.
And it almost sounded like there's a couple of guitars doing different things too.
Bass guitar just getting it over here in this
Yeah.
in the left ear.
Now in darkness, world stops turning. Ashes where the body's burning. No more war pigs have the power. And as God has struck the hour, day of judgment, God is calling. On the knees, the war pigs crawling, begging mercies for the sins. Satan laughing spreads his wings. Oh Lord, yeah.
Just like in the picture here on the song. Guitars are cool. Like they just split out all of them.
Yeah.
Oh,
What?
that was a cool way to end it.
I've never heard that before.
Wow, that was an experience, an absolute delight.
Yeah.
I guess we're so used to hearing such overproduced, highly compressed, everything's pushed to
Yeah.
its limits.
Yeah.
Everything kind of sounds the same. You can't pick out much detail.
It's a bit refreshing.
Yeah, this song, all sorts of detail. I could hear every instrument in all sorts of locations throughout the sound spectrum.
Yeah. It's pretty obvious that for its time, this was especially top of the line mixing. Like everything, like during the guitar solo, like all the different layers they had going on. Yeah, it was
And
great.
assumably all analog, probably reel-to-reel tape, you know.
Yeah, I
had to
imagine.
splice and
What were the track limits on the analog reel-to-reels?
I have no idea what studio would have been in the 70s.
Yeah. What'd
16
they have?
maybe?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
1624.
They had been
I
more
don't
than
know.
16 tracks going on there.
But they accomplished a lot with whatever they had.
Yeah.
Without all of the
I've heard people do a lot on 4-track. Like, back then,
Mm-hmm.
ingenuity breeds invention.
That's right. Nowadays
no.
we're
Wait.
spoiled. We can do like
I got that wrong. What is it? Limitation breeds ingenuity.
breeds ingenuity. That makes
Close
sense.
enough.
Yeah, and then this was very ingenuitive.
Yeah.
Is that a word? I have no idea.
I don't know. I
Sounds
probably
good.
ruined that quote.
Somebody let us know
Whatever.
what the quote was if
Whatever.
we mess it up. Very, very good song. Honestly, I didn't expect to like it that much. In fact, I didn't think I would like it more than the Faith No More one
True.
because I was such a fan. But they're
I haven't heard the Faith No More one in a while. I would say, well, there's not really much of a difference. I'd say the Faith No More version was a pretty faithful cover. They didn't take too many.
there's a pun there somewhere. Well,
Pretty faithful cover. They didn't really put too much of a spin on it, which is interesting in and of itself. But obviously, it has a different sound compared to. Like,
I mean, I
the
haven't
mixing.
heard that one in a long time. But yeah, this one felt like it had more heart and soul
Yeah,
to it.
I think usually the originals are that way.
Maybe, but you would think the cover they could do that. I feel like maybe the cover. I have to go back and listen to the cover myself. I don't remember any of that detail in the cover. Of course, I was a kid, so I wasn't paying that much attention to that kind of stuff. Interestingly, so the topic this is our second war song, by the way. We did the first song was a band Wage War, and this is War Pigs that we're filming here tonight.
Both filmed those tonight
in the ice cold studio.
Yeah.
But it's interesting when we think about war. So based on the time this was recorded in the 70s, 1970s, so late 60s, early 70s. I don't know when they wrote it.
This came out in 1970?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. They obviously the Vietnam War. That was Vietnam War era. So that obviously was in mind, I think.
Yeah.
And they're basically downing the war. So I love the word picture here. Again, I remember the lyrics from when I was a kid, but I don't never made sense of them, you know? In fact, in my head,
Same
we
here.
were reading the lyrics. In fact, in my head, I got some of the lyrics wrong. I just found out today. I was treating people just like pawns in chess. I thought he was saying, I don't know what he said. I thought it was something like treating people just like poles and chairs. It made no sense to me. But I was a kid. Anyway,
There's so many songs where I found out that I had the lyrics wrong.
like Yellow Ledbetter.
I don't think anyone has the lyrics right for that one.
So, generals gathered in their masses just like witches at black masses. So he's comparing generals gathering to,
I like the bit of wordplay there.
Yeah.
There's definitely influenced some rapper at some point.
yeah.
Masses, but the different meaning.
Yeah, the
What's
different
that called?
meaning. Yeah.
There's a word for that.
Oh man, geez. I failed English. Let's see. I don't know. I know when you apply the definition to a word out of its context, that's illegitimate totality transfer. So it's the opposite of that, I guess.
Legitimate totality transfer.
Yes.
Is that it?
I don't know.
Bingo.
Actually, I think it's just a pun, like a play on words.
Play on words, yeah.
Anyway.
We might be overthinking
I could be
that.
wrong about the other thing too. It just sounds really good when I drop it at a dinner party or something. It's like, he's
Yeah.
smart.
Yeah. How many syllables was that?
I don't even know how to spell it. Anyway, generals gathered in their mass. So he makes this sort of comparison using that word play, that play on words of generals gathering, similar to witches. Witches are up to something no good, usually casting spells. These generals are gathering to do something no good as well. Evil minds that plot destruction. That's what they're doing. They're sitting around drawing on their maps, plotting destruction. Sorcerers, again, he brings that word play like witches and sorcerers.
Oh, yeah.
Death's
I like that.
construction. So he's drawing the parallel that the generals are evil, like witches and sorcerers. That we learned in our last reaction that they have a Catholic or Christian, some kind of Christian backgrounds, and that influenced a lot of their music.
Yeah.
Even,
What was the one we did? It was After Forever?
I think it was After Forever.
Written by their bass player?
I can't
like
remember
that?
any of that
Geezer
detail.
Butler?
Wow.
Is that his name?
That's his name, I think.
Yeah.
I remember
My
being-
brain's working today.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah, and he had a Christian background, I believe.
In the fields, the body's burning as the war machine keeps turning. There's war. It's a word picture of like just death everywhere. But the war machine, the generals, the production of the weapons, the governments that institute these wars, it's just turning and turning and turning. And it brings death and hatred to mankind. And the machine poisoning their brainwashed mind. Boy, that's the word I'm looking for.
There we go.
Thank you for helping my mouth out. Poison. I'm doing it again. Anyway, that machine is poisoning these minds that have already been brainwashed and conditioned to sort of fall in line with this churning of the machine.
Yeah.
Great line here. Politicians hide themselves away. They only started the war. Why should they go out and fight? They leave that all to the poor.
Dang. That resonates hard, especially to the situation back then.
Oh, yes. And today, good night. These guys just sit there in their offices and
like chess, just moving their pawns.
just moving stuff. They don't even
He says that, treating people like pawns in chess.
That's right. They don't even have to play by the same rules as us. So with some of the insurance changes and things like that, their stuff stays the same. Like they didn't. Through this whole pandemic we've been sitting through, these guys have just been sitting back making all these rules and laws restricting us, but they ain't had to lose a dime.
Yeah,
they haven't had to stay home and do all this stuff that's threatening the livelihood of so many. And that's someday somebody watches in the future. Yeah, use that in your history class.
Yeah.
Time will tell on their power minds. So in time, you'll understand where they're at. They're making war just for fun, treating people like pawns in chess. Wait till Judgment Day comes. So he's betting on Judgment Day for God to vengeance is mine, thus saith the Lord. So God to bring justice to this unjust situation. So his understanding of God is very correct here. That God is the one who will bring justice to these unjust or unjust situations that carry on day to day in the world, whether it be war, whether it be assaults and racism and all these things that are happening in our world that we can't control. God will bring justice on Judgment Day. Mm-hmm. And then it goes to that really great solo with the cool
that was probably the best part.
Oh,
the outro is really good too.
Yep. And then
both the instrumental sections were like really good.
Yeah, and that guitar solo transitions you into the future, right? So he's betting on Judgment Day, flies you into the day everything ends. Now in darkness, the world stops turning. I'm reading it right now with you. Ashes where the body's burning. So it's interesting. Wow, I just noticed this. Look, in the fields the body's burning. That's the first verse. In this last one, ashes are all that's left.
Oh, ashes where their
now remember, it's burning. A war machine, so these bodies are constantly being fed and burning. There's no more bodies. There's no more nothing happening. Nothing just left. Ashes. Yes. No more war pigs have the power. These war pigs, I guess, or the machine, the generals and the politicians that hide themselves away. They have no more power because the one with power, hand of God, has struck the hour of his return. Judgment. Yes, the day of judgment. On their knees, the war pigs crawling. Their whole tune changes when they face the just judge of the universe and have to be held accountable for their sins, as we all will.
Yeah.
Begging mercy for their sins. Well, he says mercies, which is a very interesting way to put that. There's multiple mercies needed for multiple sins.
Yeah.
And Satan laughing spreads his wings because he's like, you're toast, bro. Like, you ain't getting nothing.
Yeah.
Because day of judgment is too late.
Yeah.
It's too late. When God calls, it's too late. So for us as Christians, we know that we are not much better than the war pigs, if you will. Jesus says hatred of the heart is murder. So we hate somebody. We're guilty of murder. So we've got bodies burning. We have a war machine turning in our minds just with hate that most of us
just hate, not to mention all the other
not to mention
all the other offenses.
Yeah, so it's easy for us to look at like politicians and go, you guys are wicked, you guys are wrong. We rarely ever do the, let's say you point one finger through or point back at you. It's really true. Like, you're not much different than the person you're hating. You may not do the exact things, maybe not to the exact extent, but they lie, they cheat, they steal. We're all guilty of that stuff. So we need a savior, obviously. And Jesus is that savior. So we've offended God. If we face God on Judgment Day, we will be punished justly for our sins, for our injustice that we've committed against others and against God. But God provided the substitute, Jesus Christ, who lived perfectly like we couldn't, and died in our place, paying the penalty that we deserved, which was death, and then resurrected. And we are forgiven in Christ simply by faith. So that's the gospel, which we talk about in a lot of our videos. I think one point of discussion before we jump out of this is, I think the idea of war from a Christian perspective, I think, might be of interest to you guys. So there's three basic war theories. There's several, but three basic, not counting Holy War theory, which was, responsible for the Crusades and the Spanish Inquisition and a bunch of other violence committed in the name of the church.
Yeah.
Which we cover in our Thy Art is Murder reaction video. I'll put a link up here.
That's right.
Definitely a good one to check out. I think you'll learn a lot about the Crusades and that stuff.
That song went pretty hard too.
Yeah, that's a funny mistake, but it was great. It was a great song.
Oh yeah, we meant to react to a different one.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it was supposed to be Megadeth Holy Wars, and I downloaded the wrong video.
Yeah, it was still good, and we ended up doing Megadeth later on.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So the extremes of these views, you have pacifism, which most people are familiar with, which is Christians shouldn't take up arms ever at all. And then we have one we're very familiar with, my country, my duty. Basically, whatever my country determines is a just war, is just. So as long as my country's doing it, I'm in. I fight for my country. Doesn't matter the reason, I'm in. Right in the middle, despite its name, it's closer to pacifism, is the just war theory. And this is where most Christians fall, I think, whether they may not know all the details of it, but I think if they stop and think about it, or when they hear what I'm about to discuss here in brief, I think they'll go, okay, yeah, I kind of agree with that.
Yeah.
Despite the name, it's important to note that it's not meant to justify wars. Just war theory, like it's not at all what it's meant to do. It's meant to prevent wars by making the exception in very limited circumstances, and as a last resort, following a series of questions that you must ask yourself before you commit to war. And so the two basic parts of the theory are jus ad bellum and jus in bello. So jus ad bellum, right to war. So basically, it's the criteria that needs to be met before we enter a war. You must have proper authority to wage the war. We just did a reaction to Wage War. Link up there. Yeah, look at all these tie-ins.
Yeah.
So you must have the proper authority. You must be a governing body, like voted in by the people, all that stuff, according to God's standards.
Yeah.
And all that, which would be like a president or something. So
Yeah.
you must have a just cause. So our just cause is mostly to establish peace. It's not for political gain or interests, like kind of what they were talking about in this song.
Yeah. And unfortunately, a lot of war ends up being for that reason.
For sure. And I think no matter what,
There's going to be some level of that.
There's going to be some level of that, but the primary purpose is to establish some kind of peace. So there's a people being suppressed somewhere. Nazi Germany, for example,
great example.
Our goal is to establish peace. Let's defeat these people, free these other people who are being oppressed evilly.
Yeah,
You must have a probability of success. You don't want to go into a war that you're going to lose. You're going to lose. So don't fight for the sake of fighting.
Yeah.
Be wise with that. Proportionality. The benefits of the war must be proportionate to the evil being fought against. So again, if you got one person being oppressed, you don't send a whole country to fight a war and kill thousands of people to save the one person. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that could be debated, but that's just an illustration off the top of my head here. And it must be a last resort as well. So it's not your first instinct isn't war. Now we got to do this.
Yeah.
It's a last resort. So that's the points for jus ad bellum, and then jus in bello, which is Latin for justice in war or correct conduct in war. Basically, it regulates the conduct of conflict. So we're seeking to minimize suffering and assisting victims to the fullest extent. So we're not literally going there just to annihilate the people for the sake of the people who they are, like Genghis Khan would do.
Yeah.
Like we defeat a city, and we'll poke out all the eyes of the men or something, and rape their women. That's not what we're to do.
Yeah.
So there's a distinction in who the enemy is and the civilians are, and we fight against legitimate military targets specifically. So we've kind of both agreed to be at war to some extent, and we're going after the responding country or defending ourselves, which is really one of the areas you'd probably, rather than go looking for a fight, you're protecting your own borders. Again, these are all debatable, and a lot of Christian ethicians, I don't know what they're called, people who study Christian ethics, they debate these points a lot. So I'm not making any flatline statements here. I'm just military necessity. Attacks must be necessary and directed at enemy targets as well. So that's part of the proportionality thing. Fair treatment of prisoners. Obviously, we're not taking war prisoners and torturing people and doing evils like that. And then the last one is humane warfare. Those are the right conducts in war. We're not like inhumane things like Agent Orange and like napalm. Those things are inhumane, and I believe some of those things were used in the Vietnam War. So there's a lot of people that would argue that the Vietnam War was not a just war, and it seems that
I'd say it certainly ended up being an inhumane war.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to draw a line here. I haven't really studied the Vietnam War to make that determination at all on my own. Based on some of the things I hear, I don't like it. So, but again, I'm not.
I mean, war in general.
Yeah,
Not a good thing.
Yeah, I'd prefer again just war, being closer to pacifism. Like let's not fight, because obviously,
anytime it's a situation where people end up having to get killed and stuff, it's just sad.
Yeah.
All the way around.
Yeah, and as Christians, we're called to love our enemies. We're called to pray for those who persecute us, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And for those of us who have found forgiveness in Jesus, our natural response is gratitude and forgiveness of others. So really, our last resort is war, and it's a painful decision, if you will. That we don't want to do until it is the last resort. So again, I was just given a bit of an overview of sort of Christian views on war, so that way you can kind of have an idea to run off and go study on your own and give you some food for thought. Hopefully that was somewhat educational for you and enlightening. Interesting conversation to have after listening to Black Sabbath.
Yeah, they seem pretty sharp, just based off of these lyrics.
Yeah, I mean, that was a popular sentiment back then. I would say popular, but they weren't alone in the way they felt, I think that was the days of hippies, or just towards the end of hippies.
Just towards the end of it, which is interesting to hear this kind of music just coming off of like the Beatles and whatever else. I don't know too much about 70s music, but these guys were pretty unique back then.
Definitely. Pioneers, of course, the sound.
Of course, yeah. Who hasn't been influenced by Black Sabbath, whether directly or indirectly.
Thank you for watching our video. If you like what we do, make sure you like the video, comment, subscribe, leave a request down there, as well as consider supporting us on Patreon. Helps keep the lights on. And until the next video, may the light of the Lord continue to shine on you. Peace.
Peace.
I pointed. I meant peace. Peace.
Close enough.